Hello and welcome back to Core Finance. This is the CEO slot. It gives me great pleasure to introduce onto our show Brad Cook, who is the founder and CEO of Endeavour Silver Corp. Brad, thank you very much for joining us here today.
Good to be here.
Well, let's start off. Just explain, if you'd be so kind, what you do at Endeavour Silver Corp, where you operate, and a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
Yeah, by all means. I'm a professional geologist by background and training. I have almost 40 years in the mining business. I've founded 3 companies in my career. This one is the one I founded in 2003. Endeavour Silver was conceived to be seeking strategic silver assets prior to any move in the price of silver. At that time, if you recall, gold and silver were trapped in a bear market, and the timing turned out to be very good. We've built now a mid-tier silver and gold producer with 3 operating mines in Mexico, 2,400 employees, listed on Toronto and also on New York. Most of our liquidity is on the New York Stock Exchange. And we have, I think, the most profound organic growth profile in the silver sector, proposing to build 3 new mines over the next 3 years.
Fantastic. You mentioned, obviously, previously the bear market that we saw in gold and silver. Over recent years, or looking back over the past 10 years, gold and silver came back into favour. Where is silver now, and where do you think that can go?
Silver is a metal in transition. It's just come off of a 5-year bear market. Clearly had a nice bounce in 2016. Pretty much a sideways move this year to consolidate that bounce. But this is a classic setup for the next leg in a bull market. So we are obviously bullish on the metal. We don't need to be tremendously bullish to make a lot of money in this metal. And Endeavour is, I think, uniquely positioned, not only because we're already a mid-tier producer, but because of our growth profile. I think we can actually double our production over the next 3 years and reduce our operating costs in the midst of what we hope will be a rising silver price environment.
Fantastic. And you mentioned you have 3 operating mines and currently looking at 3 new mines. Whereabouts are these located?
So our core assets are all in Mexico. Mexico is the largest silver producing country in the world, so it's a good place to be for silver. And our first mine, Guanaceví, is located in northern Durango State. Our other 2 mines are in central Mexico in Guanajuato State. The 3 up-and-comers, the 3 new mines, are located in Zacatecas, another famous silver mining district, Jalisco, and Chihuahua. So we are very Mexico-centric. We have no issues with looking outside of Mexico, but that happens to be where the core assets are.
And you have a proven track record with building new mines on time and on budget and expense in Mexico. Do you see that continuing?
Well, clearly, and we have built an entire project development group because of the aggressive growth profile. So we have a team led by our VP of Engineering, Andrew Sharp, to build and deliver these projects to the operating group. So our mine number 4, called El Compas in Zacatecas, is a very quick 9-month ramp up to production with forecasted production by the end of March. So we're looking at mine number 4 coming on stream in barely 4 or 5 months.
That's incredible, and that's a fantastic turnaround, and I'm sure investors will like that your capital and time isn't spent getting it online. It's there and good to go. With regards to your recent results, can you just talk our viewers and potential investors through your results? And I assume they were strong results.
We had a very good 3rd quarter release last week. We had positive earnings, rising EBITDA, rising cash flow, rising revenues. Everything was up compared to the 2nd quarter. I have to say that we did have a difficult start to the year. One of our mines was misbehaving. They had some unusual issues, unrelated issues, some hot water that we had to deal with, and also an electrical outage due to a lightning strike. But we did very well to repair the damages caused by those issues, and that mine is now coming back into normal performance. So notwithstanding that backdrop, the company actually has accumulated earnings of $7 million at the end of September. So we are looking at another decent year, and of course with the problems now behind us, we're forecasting even better financial and operating performance going forward.
And with regards to the competition and your peers, are you in the right space? Are you ahead of the curve and ahead of the herd when it comes to other peers?
Well, I think in terms of our outlook for growth, absolutely. It's very difficult to find another silver mining company with organic growth. That is a development pipeline ready to build. We're one of the very few companies that already has a pipeline of 3 mines. We've actually been dragged down in the stock performance this year because of the performance of one of our existing mines. And again, that's fully discounted in the current share price. None of our growth is actually factored into the current share price. And basically what we're telling our shareholders and investors is that with the resolution of the operating problems at Guanaceví, the first mine, we think that the focus will now turn to our growth. And so it's a very appropriate time, I think, to look at the stock.
Fantastic. And moving from 3 to 6 mines as well, that alleviates any issues you may have with one individual mine going forward, one would assume.
Yes, we're a diversified company, not only with 3 different mines, but with expertise in the operations, in development, and in exploration. Some of the most exciting value drivers short term will actually be our exploration results, allowing us to expand our reserve and resource base, extend our mine lives, and ultimately open new mines.
And you mentioned exploration results. What can investors and shareholders expect over, let's say, the next 12 months?
Short-term outlook and the clear value drivers for growth would be the turnaround of the difficult mine from earlier this year, number 1. Number 2, the delivery of our 4th mine due at the end of March. Number 3, the finalization of the permitting of our 5th mine. We have already received the mine and plant permits, but we're waiting for the dumps and tailings permits sometime in the next 3 months. That would allow us to then break ground and start construction on mine number 5. And last but not least, I mentioned the exploration results from projects such as Peral and El Compas. We are making new discoveries as we speak.
Fantastic. So sounds like a very exciting 2018. Lots to look forward to. At the top of the show, you mentioned you're listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange and New York Stock Exchange, with most of the liquid or more liquidity being in New York. For our viewers and potential investors, one would hope, the tickers for both companies, or both listings, I should say?
Yes, on the Toronto Stock Exchange, EDR, and on the New York Stock Exchange, EXK.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Brad Cook. Check out those tickers and check out the stock. And thank you very much for joining us here on Core Finance for our CEO interview.